the best art that I feel I've seen that has been the best for me are the things that I come back to, whether I literally can come back and revisit them. And there have been a few exhibitions or individual works that over the years that have made me come back, compelled me to go back to see them again. And they're actually relatively few. I mean, I see a lot of work that I like, but the things that really make me want to come back and draw me back are actually quite rare. So for me, really, really, really good art that really grips me is it's an amazing experience because it's a little bit rare. But I think it doesn't always come down to a matter of opinion. It's a lot to do with what is it you are wanting that art for. What is it you want from that art? What's the experience you're trying to achieve with coming to see some art or having it brought to you if you're lucky enough?
It's art that holds and repays my attention. That's my answer. I think that if art can do that, then art succeeds for me. And if it can do it for you, then I think arguably it would succeed for you. Now, there are a lot more aspects to this story, of course. It's about, I suppose, art that provokes a memory in you. Think about those works that you've experienced, whether it's in dealer galleries or public galleries here in New Zealand, at the art fair, museums overseas, whatever. What is it that causes you to want to return to see those works again at the next opportunity? I think the real value of art is that it invites and divides opinions. And that's exactly what happens at a fair like this, where there's such a sort of licorice all sorts of art. There is just so much difference and diversity in the work that's here. And I'm absolutely certain that no matter who the visitor has been over the last 3 days, they will have found something that they thought was good. And so if you think about that and work back from that, I think a great way of getting involved in art and learning more about art and opening yourself up more to the experience of art is to find what it is that you connect to, find what it is that kind of stirs you imaginatively, emotionally, intellectually, and then follow that. And I've often said in terms of developing art collections, the best thing to do, and I'm really not doing this as a paid party broadcast for the Auckland Art Fair, but the best thing you can do is find a dealer with whom you can connect, because their values, as exhibited through the works that they show and present, kind of connect with yours. And when you can find that sort of shared interest and value system, you're on your way. And you might not stay forever and forever locked in lockstep with that dealer as they move in some new divergent direction and you move in another. Doesn't matter. It's a really good place to start. So for me, that's a good way of beginning a good relationship with art if you want to acquire it.
Well, my ideas are much less profound. The question was, how do you know it's good? And the question perplexes me because I don't know what good is. Good is what you want the art for. If you've got a $10,000 couch and you've got an expensive Turkish carpet in front of it, and you want something to fill the space in pale green above the couch, but not detract from the couch and the carpet, then you find something and that's good. At the other extreme, if good means I want investment art that will double in value in 5 years, cross your fingers and go and find a dealer you trust or an advisor you trust and let them advise you, because your chances aren't real good. You might get lucky and you might be really smart and have a great eye, but you might not. In the middle is art. Good means, I guess, something I want to live with for 10 years. I want it to touch my soul. When I get up in the morning, I want to see it and feel good, right? And if that's what good is, don't expect to like most of what you see. At one extreme, if you go to Sotheby's evening auction, contemporary art auction in New York next month, you'll see 60 works. And no one who goes to that show will like, and if I said to you, pick out the ones you like to take home and live with. You can't flip it and resell it. That doesn't count. You want to take home and live and see in the morning. No one picks more than 3. 2 is a common number. 1 is a common number. Dealers included. The rule of thumb in contemporary art is see 1,000 works before you buy anything. Thereafter, you will like 1 in 500. Find a work that touches your soul and then come back and see it a few days later. And on the third visit, if you still love it, ask the dealer if you can take it home and live with it for 2 or 3 weeks. There's an expression in art about going dead. Some works impress you initially, and after a week you look at it and say, what did I see in that? Take it home and live with it for 2 weeks, and if it still touches your soul, figure out how to buy it.
What I get gripped by is watching that artist explore and research, and I have this idea of art as a form of research, that artists are often trying to dig away at something. Sometimes they come out in tiny little trowelfuls, and sometimes it's big, huge shovelfuls, and sometimes they're in there with a, full-on digger. But watching that process of excavation of an idea or exploration of an idea, and then the kind of tangents they might go down, and some artists go off on really broad tangents, and sometimes it's this really little movement that can be an amazingly interesting thing to observe. So it's really nice when you find an artist who's doing something interesting to follow that, to explore that, and that can be really rich. Or to someone else it can be extraordinarily repetitive and boring. But that's going to depend on what is it you engage with within that work. What is it that you're getting gripped by in that artist's work?
Bad art is the stuff that sits inside design, home, garden, apartment living magazine. You look at those things and you know, if you've been to high-end design stores, that everything has been so superbly considered. Everything is made from this Italian house, Casa de Mobili, whatever it is. Everything is perfectly tuned as a work of design. And there's this really banal, boring slab of colour which sits at the back. And it's simply so it doesn't compete with the things in the front. It's a bit like models. They're meant to look quite sort of androgynous and sort of maybe even vapid, because it's the clothes that count. Well, when art is submitted to that role in those magazines, generally speaking, it turns out to be really bad art.
Art fairs, in one way, are a terrible way to look at art. They're overlit, they're too crowded, there's not enough time to spend with the dealer, and they're only looking at 3 or 4 works from a particular artist. Use it to find dealers a dealer or 2 dealers who seem to represent the kind of art and the kind of artist that you're interested in. Get their card, and make an appointment to go on a Tuesday morning when they're not very busy and talk to them. And it's a little like buying real estate. When you buy a house, you want to find an agent who is comfortable in finding out what you're looking for and the price you want to pay, and spending some time showing you things without pressuring you. That's what you want in a dealer. Ask the dealer to set up an appointment so you can go to the artist's studio and look at the total body of their work, 60 or 70 or 100 pieces. And so you'll see work, and artists are happy to have you come, and they can explain to you what they're doing and why they're doing it and how it's evolved, and it's fascinating. My wife and I have done that and spent marvelous times getting an education from an artist. And of course, if you buy something, you're still buying it through the dealer. You can't really honestly circumvent the dealer that way, but it will give you. It gives you a different exposure, and it's the other extreme from looking at art at an art fair.